So tonight we're going to go over planning, scheduling, organizing, all that stuff. I know that we've kind of touched on this a little bit before, and I know that we do these on Sundays anyways. I did not hop on today on purpose just because I wanted to be able to do my planning with you guys. And so I actually have not written out much as far as planning, but I did spend the day kind of thinking about goals, because I will say, like, no one is immune to falling off track. No one is immune to having hiccups, having bumps in the road, whatever you want to call it. Like, your leader is not perfect. You are not perfect at any rank that you achieve. There's always going to be areas that you can improve. There's always going to be areas that you can do a little bit better. And some things that I had to kind of look at myself today is, hey, like, I had not written down my goals. Hi, it's the 7th of the month and I had not written them down yet. So I'll just be fully transparent with you. And I was looking at my vision board, and when you have your vision board, and the only thing I really change on my vision board month to month is, like, I'll rewrite how many samples I want to sell. I'll rewrite the customers I want to enroll and the promoters that I'm looking to introduce into the tribe, right? So I'll write down, and I'll have like little, it looks like this. So I'll show you. We're going to get into this a little bit, but hold on. Here's Kelly. I'll write like these little tiny ones on the outside of my vision board, so that with each specific one, I can rip off. So let's say I sold a sample today, then I could go up to my vision board and I can take it off, and then I kind of like pile it up, or I'll put it in a little baggie, just so that I can keep track at the end of the month. How many samples did I sell? I also write that in my planner. So my planner comes from Target, and on my planner, it's got like this week's top 3. And so usually in that little space, I'll write how many customers I would like to enroll, how many promoters, how many samples for that week specifically, based off of whatever I put on my vision board for how many I want to do for that month. So tonight's going to be about like umbrella goals. We'll just call it that. But starting with your big one and going down and down and down. And from your bigger one, okay, what's your next step? Then what's your next step? Then what's your next step? And it will bring you to kind of like where you are right now, if that makes sense. And so get your planner out. We're going to start with like our weekly goals first, and then we're going to go into like some bigger things too. Okay. But I just needed to change it up the way it looked to me, because I feel like when I see the same thing over and over and over again, it's like, after a while, it doesn't click with me anymore. And I wanted something a little bit fresh. So tomorrow is the 8th. The first thing that I do when I look at my week, as far as planning out, especially since I work full time, is I'll write on each day, what are my work hours? So write down, like, if you work outside the home or if you work in the home or whatever, write down your life first. So like, tomorrow I wrote down it's Sean's birthday, right? So I will likely put up a post that it's Sean's birthday. I'm also off tomorrow. And so we're going to get into that a little bit, but I write down my work schedule first, and anything I've got going on for like life stuff. So whether it's somebody's birthday, or if I have a doctor's appointment, kids have a doctor's appointment, I write that down so that I know what's going on for the week. Then I look at my work schedule and I say, okay, for this week, Monday through Sunday, the next thing I look at is I plug in the Zooms that I want to attend. So of course, Monday, oh, never mind. Monday, we're not Zooming. We're doing our Zoom tonight. But normally I would write Monday, I'd write Team Zoom, 8 p.m. Okay. I am weird with colors, obviously, but I am very weird with colors. Like when I was in nursing school, all my cardiac notes were pink. All my respiratory notes were blue. All my GI notes were orange. I still remember that. And I remembered it on the test because of the color that I studied the notes in, if that makes sense. So I do that with my planner. And so anything like with us is pink. So like if I have a one-on-one coaching call with you guys, or our personal Zooms on Mondays, I'll highlight it pink, knowing that when I look at my planner, that is specific to us. That's important for our team. And then our bigger team, I don't know why, but I do orange. And so on Wednesday, you'll write down, we've got our team Zoom at 9, and this is Eastern Standard Time. So 9 p.m. Eastern. And I'll highlight that orange so that I know that's the bigger picture. And this is usually where I write down like where I forgot that goat training. This is normally where I write that down. Like last week, I totally woke up a few days late. I broke that promise to myself. I lost track a lot of days last week. I didn't always accomplish everything I wanted to get done. So I feel you guys whenever you guys say like, I struggle with organization. I struggle with time management. Like it's a work in progress, but I will tell you, the more that you do things, the more that you're repetitive with what you do, you're creating those habits, and those habits become your normal eventually. It's like going face to face on your stories, right? Like I used to write that down all the time, and now, very rarely will you ever see me not go face to face on my stories, only if it's like a really shitty day or something, right? But your habits become like your non-negotiable. They become like your baseline, your new normal, and then you add it on to that. But write down your Zooms. So we're not writing down tomorrow's because we're on here tonight, but for Wednesday night, you're going to write that down for 9 p.m. Eastern. And then I don't have the graphic on me, so let me look it up real quick unless somebody else has got it. What I normally do, it should be on the team page under featured. There it is. You can find the training schedule under the featured. So when you go to the team page and you see the top little bubbles across the top, there's like some featured posts, and you'll see the training schedule. So you'll see, this is what you're looking at, is you're looking at Lindsay's Monday night Zooms, not ours. You're looking at our bigger one, and then you're looking at our Sunday planning Zoom. So on Sunday, I do like to attend these because different leaders lead them. And so it's not always Christina, Tammy. Sometimes you'll get M, sometimes you'll get Lynn, sometimes you'll get somebody else. And maybe like their schedule vibes with you, or the way that they do it, really, you love that. And so I try my best to hop on Sunday planning Zoom. So I'll write that down. Sunday planning. And this is at 11:30 Eastern AM. And if you don't know, that one is 979-180-2986. If somebody could type that in the chat, that's Lynn's ID, 979-180-2986. And then we have a work with me schedule. I do think it's good practice to get into the habit of, especially if you're not confident with your IPAs, or maybe you feel like you've got this huge list of things that you want to get done for your business each day, but you only check off like 2 or 3 things, and you'd like to get stronger in that aspect. I encourage you to look at your schedule, your work schedule, what's going on in life, and pick one. Do not show up to every single work with me, because what you'll find is you're attending the work with me to be able to do a boomerang, and then you don't do it. Like you listen to what they say, but like you don't end up adding to your network or removing from your network or engagement. So sometimes you'll get into that. So just be very careful. So I like to pick one a week that I can attend, and I can consciously actually do the work with me. Okay, so look at your schedule and see. I'm going to look at mine real quick. So I'm off tomorrow. I don't know. My tomorrow is going to be a little crazy, but maybe. I don't know if Sean's working or not. So Monday, we've got one at 10 a.m. if that fits your schedule. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Wednesday, 10 a.m. Thursday, 8 p.m. Friday, 10 a.m. And that's interesting. Saturday night at 6 p.m. we have 1. I'm going to try to do that Saturday. Do you want me to say those again? Does anybody need me to say those again? If I don't do the Saturday one, this is what my Monday looks like tomorrow. I don't know if Sean's going to get hit with mandatory overtime. So if he does and he's not here, I'll hop on tomorrow's at 10 a.m. And if not, then I'll plan on Saturday at 6 p.m. The only reason is because it's a different time frame and you're likely going to get a different kind of leader, which you learn new things. These are all Eastern Standard Time. Oh, I don't have the chat open. Hold on. You sent it in the chat. Perfect. Okay. So that's the next thing that I do. There's also the Wake Up with Jesus Zooms. If those are something that you want to hop on. But the next thing I do, so I look at my life, I look at my Zooms, I plug those in. Okay. Monday, Wednesday, non-negotiables for me. Sometimes I'll miss a Sunday, but I like to do my Sunday planning Zooms. And then one work with me a week is what I do. Take what you want, leave what you don't. Then I look at my off day. So when I look at my schedule, this is just your leader who works full time. When I look at my schedule, I have one day off a week other than the weekend. And sometimes my weekends I'm on call for 24 hours and it can be a little shit show. But tomorrow is my only day off this week. So knowing going into this that I did not take the time today to actually get some photos done or create content, I will likely be batching reels and batching my photos tomorrow. So one day a week, I'll do that with my photos and with my reels. Because I used to get super stressed out feeling like I had to create a photo and create a post every single day in the moment. And then it was 9 p.m. and I'm stressed out and I'm yelling at my husband and I'm like, don't talk to me. Like I have to post. And I'm like, God, no one's even online anymore because it's 9 p.m. Do you know what I mean? I used to get myself all worked up because yes, I do work full time. I try not to post when I'm on the clock because we do have a social media policy, right? So if you're working, I encourage you to read, print out, know, like the back of your hand, your social media policy. So you're not breaking any rules. Okay. So for me, I have to be very strict with when I post if I work that day. So I'll post like right before I go in, or I'll have to post after work. So sometimes it is late at night for me, but I don't like to wait until 8 o'clock at night when I get off of work and maybe it's been a crazy day for me to be creative and try to come up with a post. Okay. Or a photo, right? Am I saying that it never happens? No, sometimes it does happen that way. But I try not to because I don't like to feel like that. I don't like to feel rushed. I don't like to feel like it's a last minute kind of thing. So tomorrow I'm going to write on my day tomorrow. I'm going to write batch photos. So what day this week can you do that? If you did not take time to do that this weekend, and I'm not talking about going crazy. I'm not talking about driving somewhere fancy and taking photos. I'm talking about just posing around my house and putting a different sweatshirt on, maybe not the red one for every single photo, maybe putting some makeup on, I don't know. I just take a couple photos. Maybe I noticed recently that I need a lot more product photos. I have a lot of like selfie stuff, but I need a lot more product photos. So tomorrow I'll be focused on doing that. So once a week. So I make sure, for me, I like to plan like my Monday through Friday, and I like to leave my weekends a little bit open. The reason why is because our company launches promos a lot, if you haven't noticed, and they kind of goof me up a little bit because like maybe I'll have an idea where I want to do my own personal giveaway or my own personal promo. And I'm like, this is what I'm going to do for the weekend. And this, I'm going to have $25 off for brand new customers. And then the company comes in and they're like 15% off site wide or whatever. So I like to just kind of leave my weekends open sometimes. So that might be a thought to kind of keep in the back of your head. The next thing I do is when I'm looking at my off days, because one of the things that I wrote down as my goals is to do a minimum of 1 live video a week. That used to be a stretch for me because live videos still make me nervous. Yes. Maybe they do you too, but I know that I need to do them to grow my business, whether it be product, company, like business, or whether it be just something that I'm learning in self-development, just a little inspiration, or I don't know, cooking a meal. Sometimes I've done lives on that, but 1 live video a week. So when I'm looking at my schedule, I'm like, when's my off day, or when's a day that I'm like done early? When can I schedule my live video? Right. And so I'll look at my schedule and I'll say, okay, when can I make this happen? So for me, I will likely do one on Wednesday. Just because of my work schedule, because I'm done at 3 o'clock. And I know that I can settle the girls, maybe do a video in the afternoon or maybe in the morning. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll write down when seems like a good time. Does it happen when I write it down and when I plan it? No, not all the time. Sometimes I'll write down that I'm going to do a live video on Wednesday and Wednesday goes to crap and it ends up being on Thursday. It doesn't matter. The fact of it is that I wrote down what my goal was. 1 live video a week. That's just me personally. I'll also write down if any of you guys reach out to me and you want like a one-on-one coaching call or a dual live video, something where I have to designate time for that, probably about a 30-minute time frame, then I have to look at my work schedule. So sometimes I'll say in the chat, like, hey, I'm off on Monday if anybody wants to do a dual live or a one-on-one coaching call. If I don't say it in the chat, you always, please know this, you always have access to me where you can just say, hey, let me know what your schedule looks like this week. I'd love to do a coaching call or I'd love to do a dual live with you. And I will make it happen. Okay. I am going to be getting into the end of the year. I am going to be getting a little bit stricter with my boundaries in my business, because that's something that I've realized that I need to do. And I'll get a little bit off subject here with you because maybe it pertains to you too. But I don't know if anybody listened to that bamboo season sermon that I put into the chat. I know it was very long, but it had me glued to it because he was talking about bamboo and how, it takes bamboo like 3 years before it even starts like sprouting. So it's like, he was talking about trusting the process, right? And he was talking about, maybe you're in a hard season, you're waiting for your bamboo season, because when bamboo starts to grow, it can grow, I think he said like 3 inches an hour. Once bamboo starts to grow. And so everybody's looking for that acceleration in their business, that fast growth. They want that momentum. And he wasn't pertaining the sermon to exactly business the whole time, but I kind of like could take that away from it and be like, okay, like we're all looking for this in our business. We're looking for this rapid growth. But then he said, like, when you're praying, he's like, you're asking for all these things, but you're not being faithful in the process. And in my brain, I'll be honest with you, I was like, I'm being faithful. I'm being faithful with my business. I know that my bamboo season is coming. I know that I'm consistent. I know that I'm showing up. And then he started saying things like, he said something that was like, you're in that apartment and you're praying for that dream house, but you're not faithful with your finances. And I was like, oh snap. I was like, your girl has not colored in any of these in a while. I was like, I might be faithful with my business, but there's some other areas that I need to focus on. And for me, that's my finances and that's my marriage that I need to focus on, because I have been committed to this business. I will still be committed to this business, but I'm not going to let one thing accelerate and the others decline. Okay. So keep that kind of in check whenever you go to look at your goals. We're going to get into this board here in a second, but maybe there's some other things besides business that you need to put on here. Like I put 4 workouts a week, right? I put that I wanted to share 1 workout a week, like whether it be in my stories or on my feed, because that's something that I used to do a lot, but I've gotten out of doing it. I've kind of like fallen off track in some areas, but I've also like grown in some other areas. That's going to happen as you go through new seasons. Maybe it's a tough season in your marriage. Maybe it's a tough season with your finances. Maybe it's a tough season at work, in life, whatever. We're all going to have that. But you have to be open to receiving that maybe there's other areas that you need to work on that are just as important as this business. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that. So the next thing I look at when I'm planning my week is I look at my weekly goals. So my weekly goals personally, I'll just kind of like spit them off here, throw yours in the chat if you want. Business doesn't run us. Yes, Karen. My weekly goals, I told you, like I would like to do 1 live video a week. That's a goal for me. 1 work with me Zoom a week. I like to do that. What was I going to say? Brain fart. How many samples do you want to sell a week? How many customers do you want to bring in a week? How many promoters, right? I know Lindsay talks about how every 14 days is a new 14 days. So break that into 2. If you're wanting to theoretically run for your VIPs every 2 weeks, then what does that look like weekly? That looks like 1 customer, 1 promoter, and then how many samples? For me, I wrote down as a stretch for me, honestly, 4 samples a week is a stretch for me, especially with the way things have been going lately. But I've noticed that I don't talk about them much. And I'll tell you, every day I've been on detox, I've talked about trials just to stretch myself, because we get into our heads a little bit and we start to think, well, I just talked about this, or I talk about this every day, or I talk about this all the time. I'm repetitive, I'm salesy. And I thought to myself, well, let me just see what happens if I talk about it every day, right? Every day. And I'm like, I don't care what everybody thinks of me. I don't care. So what are your weekly goals when you're looking at those bigger goals? And what do you want to talk about on your stories? So what you want to talk about on your stories and what you want to talk about in your posting. I'm not going to tell you what to post for the week, but I'll give you the gist of what I think of. So tomorrow, like I said, Monday is Sean's birthday. So obviously I'm going to post something about his birthday. That's 1 piece of content. And then I might post 1 other thing, and I'll probably post a reel, because I've been trying to do 1 reel a day. So for Mondays, maybe you want to talk about your job. Maybe, do you know that everybody, like a lot of people hate their job and they hate Mondays and they're dreading going into it. It's a great day to actually talk about the business, to talk about what you want out of this business so that you're not still living in X, Y, or Z. Tuesday. What is Tuesday? Tuesday's payday. I like to talk about the business on Tuesdays. Okay. Especially when you have a paycheck that comes through and you can kind of screenshot it and you can do an overlay on your picture. Don't do that every single Tuesday, but in some way you can talk about the business every single Tuesday. Why not? If not on your feed, do it in your stories. Do a screenshot of whenever we go on the team page and we're like, what's this Tuesday paycheck doing for you? And everybody's dropping these comments. It doesn't matter. Nobody is looking to see what it's doing for you right now. They want to know what's possible for them. So like when you have these leaders that are posting things in the team page that you can use, like credits day, payday, and you see all these comments of what people are actually achieving, screen record it, put it in your stories, say, look what's possible for you, right? Go into the team page if you need that kind of content and it doesn't come up on Tuesday. Go type in the team page like payday and you'll see old threads that you could screen record and you can say, this is what it's doing for people, right? On Wednesday, I already wrote that I'm going to do a live video, but Wednesday for me, I don't know who else is doing. Kelly is, Harriet is, Kristen, are you doing detox? Who's detoxing right now? Day 7. Okay. So Wednesday is our last day. Okay. So I'm going to talk about detox being my last day on Wednesday. That'll probably be what my live video is about. I don't know about you guys. I know some people are loving it. I don't. I don't love it. I don't like the way I feel. Yeah, I feel less bloated. Maybe I'm losing a couple pounds. I don't even know. But I miss my capsules. I miss my shake. My coworkers don't like me. Okay. I feel like I'm yelling at my kids, even though I've got a white label. I just don't like it. So I've been authentic in sharing that, hey, I mean, detox isn't bad, but like, I don't like seafood. So I don't like the restrictions, the dietary restrictions. And I like some yogurt and some Chobani flips. And I'm all about moderation. And so for me, I'm going to talk about detox probably on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, guess what your girl's going to talk about? She's got her CAPSEs back, right? She's got her CAPSEs back and she's going to be thriving day one all over again, right? Do you see how I can plan this out with what's actually going in my life? And then Friday is like a free for all. I'll probably do like a business post or something like that. And so for now, I'll just write on Friday, I'll write post because I wrote down every day. I'll write business. And I might just leave it basic like that. I might, some weeks I'll write like auto bonus, or I'll write like thrive for free, or I'll write business for free, where I'll want to talk about like that we don't have website fees, renewal fees, or any fees like that. Or maybe I'll talk about like the fears that I had coming into the business and how Lavelle's just kind of alleviated that. So in some way, every week you have something that you can say about the business, right? So I've covered for my entire week, I've covered payday, I've covered products, I've covered detox, a live video. I've done something about my life and Sean's birthday. I might throw in another, like on my weekends, I like to throw in like a family post or something that we're doing. And I just kind of keep it simple like that. And I might have some things that come to me in self-development throughout the week that I know I want to post, and I'll kind of make arrangements, and I might mix things up or change it. But like, that's about as basic as my planning goes. I'll also write down follow-ups. So every single time somebody comes to me and they're like, ask me questions, they want to be they want a trial, or they want the information about being a customer. Do you see like the mental clarity is not there? Can you tell? Like I cannot even focus to do a Zoom with you guys, but I'll write their name down. So for example, I've got a girl named Heather that messaged me Friday of last week, and she wanted a sample. So she got a sample from my back office because I did the sample mail out. So Friday, she actually, I think it mailed, I'll look at my email, but I think it mailed out on Saturday. So on Tuesday, likely, I'll give it a few days, but on Tuesday, I'll write on here, touch base with Heather. Does that make sense? As a reminder to me, because I've already turned the page on last week. So I'm not going back and always looking at it, but I keep them in mind, anybody that I've talked to, and I'll write down a couple of days later to just check back with her and to say, hey, let me know when your products arrive, and I'll give them an example of how to use the products or whatever. Or if it's somebody was curious and they just kind of left me on red, I'll give them like 2 or 3 days, and then I'll touch base with them again. I think it's a good idea to write down if you have promoters in their VIPs. Okay. If you have promoters in their VIPs, write down when their VIP ends so that you can kind of guide them through that process and you don't miss the boat when their VIP ends. Okay. I'm just going to leave it at that because I'm not going to cry. But, anyways, that's planning your week in a nutshell. I want to go over a couple of things. I don't know who was here a year ago and was on the Zoom that Em did, where she announced our retreat that we were going to do, and then COVID screwed everything up. Do you guys remember that Zoom? So I listened to that one more time because I did think in the moment when I was on that Zoom, I was like, this is one of the most powerful goal setting Zooms that we've had so far. And I want to break down a couple of things with you when she was talking about your bigger goals and breaking it down. So kind of like the umbrella goals. The first thing she said to write down is my actions are a reflection of what I value. So for me, that's My actions of going to the gym 4 times a week is a reflection of what I value, because I value my health, because I work for a health and wellness company, right? Or maybe it's drinking your water, or watching what you eat, or reading your Bible, or I don't know. What is it that's important to you that you need to set some actions in place, because it's a reflection of what you value. So the first thing we're going to go over is business goals. I know this is going to be backwards for you guys, but I decided to kind of change it up for the end of the year. And I wrote down like a little sticky note that has my November goal. So every month, November and December, I'll kind of change this out. You do not have to do this, but I'll kind of give you a breakdown of what I did. So I wrote down my November goals. I wrote down like the book I'm reading, the book I want to finish, little check mark there, 1 reel a day, 1 live video a week. And then I've got 4 little check marks here for each week to see my progress. Work out 4 days a week, 1 work with me Zoom, 2 opportunity events that I want to do for the month of November. I got something I want to do with Google Docs. I want to share my workouts. I want to share my debt journey again. And then Sean and I were talking about finances. And so what we ended up doing was I wrote down like my weekly goals. So this is where I've got like my 4 samplers. I've got 2 customers for the week, 1 promoter for the week. This may not happen, right? But I've got it here so I can look at it. Okay. $50 into savings. I told him, we had a septic issue this week. He was completely stressed out. Okay. This man lives in scarcity mode all the time with everything. Okay. And I was very nonchalant. I was like, it's fine. Like, whatever it is, we'll figure it out. We've always figured it out. It's not a big deal. And he's like, it's gonna be thousands of dollars and everything's going to crap. And I'm like, but it's not. Right. And I said, do you know what we're working with in our bank account? And he's like, oh, I don't even want to look at the bank account. I don't even want to look at the bank account. And I said, okay. I said, well, let's just set some goals then, because clearly we have different opinions on our money mindset and that sort of thing. And I said, you do realize, this was the day that I had posted about the credit card. I said, you do realize that we have not touched our credit card for over a year. It's been like a year and a half that we've had it locked away. You do realize that for the first time ever, we've had a savings account that we haven't had to touch for over a year also. Right. And it's like putting him back in his perspective. And he's like, yeah, but like, I don't want to have to, I said, that's what that savings account is for. Right. So I looked at him and I said, and I urge you to have this conversation with your spouse, with your family, with someone who this business is just important to them, because it's going to make a difference in their life too. I asked him, I said, okay. I said, what amount of money would you be comfortable with in our bank account, in our savings account? Because clearly you're not comfortable with what's in our savings account right now. And this is the best that we've ever looked. Okay. And he goes, I don't know, 10 grand. So I'm like, okay, 10 grand in savings is my big goal. Right. So I said, okay, babe, I'm gonna put that on the vision board. We're going to do 10 grand in savings. In order to get to 10 grand in savings, then I got to go 5 grand in savings, right? Then I need to pay off some debt to be able to tuck away, right? Does this make sense? So what I decided to do was I did like my monthly goals, my weekly goals, business goals. Because remember, I highlight everything business is in orange. Okay, financial goals, because money is green. Okay, anyways. So I wrote down like some financial goals, and then I wrote down team goals. So this is like you guys, this is like what y'all want to accomplish, so that when I'm waking up every single day, I can look at that. And so I urge you, if you have promoters in your downline, even if you don't, make space for them. Make space for them, because they're going to come in and they're going to need something they're going to need your help accomplishing something too. So I wrote down y'all stuff. And then at the bottom, I put in this little corner here, I put personal goals. So this is where you guys put like, sponsor a soldier, like whatever you guys put in the chat. I don't want to go too late tonight here, but, these are like X amount of pounds you want to lose, go into the gym, right? One thing that I'm going to start trying to do, you guys know I've been trying to get strict on my bedtime, so I wrote that down. I wrote 9:30 p.m. bedtime. And then this one is a stretch for me, but I know that I have to put boundaries in place for my business. I put no work after 8 p.m. except Mondays and Wednesdays, because it does make a difference. And it may not stress you out, but it may affect some relationships. Okay. And boundaries have to be put in place with yourself, because nobody's breaking that boundary but me. And I'll tell you that the only reason why I break that boundary is because I wasn't organized that day, is because I got out of work and I didn't know what to post, right? It's because I didn't plan. It's because on my lunch break, I decided to set my phone down instead of doing something that I could have done on my lunch break, like birthdays or engagements or something like that. I didn't utilize my time wisely. You guys know that sometimes I get off work early and nobody knows that I get off work early because I am still working, right? And I don't tell anybody that I get off work early because maybe I need that hour for my business. And maybe sometimes I get off work early and I am able to plug away at some things so that when I do come home, this gets put away. I tuck my babies into bed. I spend time with my family, and I'm not stressed out over what I haven't posted yet for the day because I took 30 minutes in my car before I told him I'm coming home. Does that make sense? You have to set boundaries in your business with yourself because you're going to overdo it. You're going to get addicted to the process. You're going to get addicted to growth, to one more reel, to one more post, to a couple more minutes of engagement, to, ooh, maybe you get stuck scrolling on social media in Reels land or TikTok land or whatever. And then like you wake, you look up and you're like, oh my God, I didn't actually do the thing that I told myself I was going to do. This is why I use timers on my phone specifically. And then another thing that you might want to think about real quick before we go is focused IPAs. I know Lindsay talks about this a lot, but instead of trying to do everything in one day, like she'll do one day, her focus is adding to her network. And so I asked her one day when she was leading a Zoom, because I personally on my IPA list, I have like 3 different rounds of engagement that I do. I do like a morning engagement, an afternoon or nighttime engagement, and then I engage a little bit on Reels every day, or try to. And I asked her, I said, so on your days where you're focused, IPA is to do adding to your network. Are you telling me that you only engage one time a day? And she said, yes. Right? Because some days last week, I noticed that I put my head to my pillow and I hadn't added to my network that day. Right? But I had checked off all my engagements for most of the week. And I'm like, I need to kind of revamp this a little bit. So look at areas that you did well last week, areas that maybe you need to strengthen from last week, and write down those big goals. At the top, write down, oh, this is what I wanted to get into. How did I get off of this? But one thing she put on here for business goals, this is why I decided to break it up from business to financial to personal. For business goals, what's your biggest business goal? Like your biggest income goal, your biggest rank? Is it Millionaires Club? What is your biggest business goal? Write that on paper. I can send this into the chat too, so that you can see it, and I can kind of breeze through it because I know it's already 8:40. Number 2 is what's the next step to get you there. So let's say your big business goal, maybe you don't want to be a 200K. Not everybody does, right? So maybe your big business goal is that you want to be 12K because you would love to have that auto bonus to be able to help your family out, right? Maybe that's your big business goal for right now. There's nothing wrong with that. So what's the next step to get you there? Your next step is 4K if you're not currently a 4K leader, right? And then what's your next step weekly to getting there? So every single week, what can you do to get you to 4K? And that takes looking at where you're currently at and what you're working with. Meaning, what was your volume last week or last month? What does your team look like? Your team, your personal team. How many personally enrolled promoters do you have that are working? Because if you have one personally enrolled promoter that's working, and let's say your volume was at like 1,000 last month, and your goal, your big business goal is 12K, but you know you got to hit 4K first, then I'd say you need to focus on your business posting and your live videos about the business and sharing where you were, where you're at now, and where you're going because of this business, to be able to attract another promoter, another team member that you can then turn around and help go VIP 800, VIP 1600, to be able to get to your 4K. All the while, you're still working on your customers every month. You're still working on your 2 auto ship customers to get free product credit, right? What's your biggest business, like, financial goal? This one kind of scared me a little bit when I re-listened to the Zoom. She said, what's your biggest goal? And for me, my biggest goal was always to just match my nursing income. And so maybe that's you. Maybe you want to come home to your kids and you're like, I just need, like, my big business goal is to just match my income so that I don't have to go to work if I don't want to. That was always my biggest one. And she's like, double it. I'm like, okay. So I doubled that shit, put it on the board, right? In order to get to that big business income, underneath that is your big business rank to be able to get to that, right? Underneath that is how many personally enrolled VIP 800s, 4Ks to get there. And in order to get that big business income that you're looking at, what does your current Tuesday paycheck look like? Right? Compared to your big business income, monthly income. Do you know, here's like an honest question. Don't put this in the chat. I'm not asking you to tell me, but do you know how much you make a month from this business? Okay. It's the same thing as looking at our debt. Nobody wants to write down how much debt they got, but you have to know where you're at to be able to put a process in place to get you to where you want to be. So write down your Tuesday paychecks this month and next month, and start estimating how much you're making per month with this business. Maybe go back in time if you've been here a while, and you can look at your commission history to see, which will kind of tell you, am I moving on track, or do I need to pick it up a little bit? Right? Where do I need to have my focus? And what's your next weekly step? Like, what's your next step weekly to getting there? We know we're not at our big business income monthly goals right now, right? But what's your next step? Because maybe you're comfortable with $25 paychecks. Maybe you're just like, I've been there. to the point where it's like your paychecks are pretty much always about the same. Forever, my paychecks were like $25 to $75 a week. We are so blessed for that. But if you're not looking at your bigger income goal, then you get comfortable there. And you start to get like I was, where all my paychecks just went into my bank account and I wasn't doing anything with them. They just became like normal money that was in the bank account that we relied on to pay the bills. And I didn't make it matter to me. So one of the goals I put down is I put on here for my weekly goals, I put $25 from each paycheck is going into my savings account because my husband thinks we need $10,000 in savings, right? So I got to start making progress somewhere. If he thinks that we need 10 grand in savings, that'd be great if we had 10 grand in savings, right? But like, I never dreamed that big, but apparently he has his little heart on the couch over here. But I need to start somewhere instead of just letting my paychecks go into my bank account. So I said, okay, I'm gonna put a process in place. So every single paycheck, $25 is going to the savings account. It's not just going to sit in our bank account anymore. The rest of it, since my financial goals are to pay off credit card debt, pay off my student loans, I need to start doing something with the money again. I used to color in all these little puzzle pieces because it kept me motivated, but I fell off track. And what I'm trying to say is it's okay if you fell off track in some areas, but you got to get the wheels turning again if you want to get to these big goals that you have for each area, your business goals, your financial goals, your team goals, your weekly goals, your personal goals. And so I said, well, why just stop at $25, right? For my Tuesday paychecks. Why not put $25 in for my nurse paychecks, from his firefighter paychecks too? That gives us $200 a month minimum. That's going to be going into our savings account. What would our life look like if we did that? And so we're going to see, right? You play with it along the way. Okay, let's move on. Financial goals. How much debt do you have? As long, like, you got to get honest with yourself, girlfriend. I decided to take away, because I wrote down a long time ago, it was like $81,000 in debt that we've got. That's our full transparent moment. This is like our credit cards. This is our student loans, or my student loans. And then that was our cars. And I realized that for my silly little puzzle piece thing that I like to color in, that in order to color in a puzzle piece, it was almost $1,000 that I had to come up with to be able to color in one puzzle piece. So I felt like I was getting nowhere. Realistically, that was all my debt with the exception of my mortgage. But looking at it, it's super overwhelming to try to come up with almost $1,000 just to color in one puzzle piece. And you don't feel like you're making much progress. And then you get into the where you don't even look at your paychecks going into your bank account. Like, you look at them, but then you don't make anything happen with them. And you fall into that trap of not making your paychecks make a difference in your life. So write down how much debt you have. How much do you have in savings? Maybe you don't have a savings account yet and you want to start one. Okay. Couple of things that we're going to do, like prompts that I liked, that I'll put them in the chat real quick. I'm just going to read them and then I'll put them in the chat because I know that we're getting late here, but I do blank for my business and team weekly to achieve that goal. This is your big business goal, your big rank, your big business income goal that you have. What do you do weekly for your business and for your team to achieve that goal? So maybe that's your weekly goals, right? That's your live videos. That's your one-on-one coaching calls with your team. Maybe that's your showing up on work with me's, right? I helped blank go VIP 800, or I helped blank go 4K. So one thing I wrote in here, because can you even see it? So I wrote 4 personally enrolled 4Ks and I left it blank. I used to have 4K written next to you guys' names who said that you guys were going after 4K. And then I realized like those spots are blank until they're claimed. right? And I'm not just going to sit here and only work with one person because they say that they want to go 4K and then they don't show me that they want to go 4K, and I've focused on them, on my goals, when I've got someone else new who comes in and they deserve a spot on this as well. So I leave this blank now. Right? And so 4 personally enrolled 4Ks, 2 personally enrolled 12Ks. If my big goal is 40K, does that make sense? So maybe you have a little space for 2 personally enrolled VIP 1600s. And if you're looking at me like, Amber, I can't get anybody to VIP 1600, then we need to chat, right? Then we need to figure out what processes and what systems you feel like we don't have in place for new people. Let's see. Financial goal. Oh, hold on. Let's not move forward yet. It says, I am no longer afraid of blank. What fear are you letting hold you back in your business? Nor do I let blank hold me back. And I'll put these in the chat for you, but it's powerful to actually think about it, right? I'm no longer afraid of going live, right? Or whatever it is. Nor do I let opinions hold me back, or whatever you want to write. Financial goals, I have paid off X amount of debt, right? I am putting blank amount in savings per week. If your goal is to have a savings account. I spend wisely to prepare for the future, which means I no longer do blank. I no longer put things on a credit card. I no longer frivolously spend. Whatever it looks like for you. Money creates freedom for me and my family because of my hard work. And then the last 2, and like I said, I'll put these in the chat, is I've been able to do blank for my spouse because of this opportunity. The last one is I've been able to do blank for my children because of this opportunity. I know we like to think 4K, 12K, 40K, all these big goals, income goals, but like, what do you want to do for your spouse and for your family? Do you want to be able to say, babe, I got the mortgage every month? Do you want to be able to say, I got your car payment, my car payment? Do you want to be able to say, our kids finally have a savings account? We're finally preparing for college. We're not going to wait for that to sneak up on us. What can this business do beyond you? And then you throw in like some fun things, like some giving, like sponsoring a soldier, or, you know, paper angels, or whatever you want to do that you can give back a little bit. I hope this was helpful. We're going to wrap it up with that, you guys. I don't take it lightly that you guys are spending your Sunday night with me, but I love you. I hope it was helpful. Write down those goals and we'll talk later.